Welcome back to Biz 15, the Yorkshire Business Podcast. I'm joined by Mark and Liam from the Sheffield Eagles. We'll jump straight into it as a follow-on from episode 9, talking about exciting and developing new stadium. We talked about in the previous episode about the new stadium having that community feel. What's it going to do for the local community down at Claffey?
So again, not just Sheffield Eagles as a professional sort of anchor club that's been based there, that the UTC College and the Oasis Academy, which are based on the Olympic Legacy site, they use that pitch Monday to Friday 9 till 5. So the facilities are there for the local juniors around there. And then Middlewood Rovers, Darnell FC, the local football clubs are using it as well. There's Sheffield Knights football disability side that use it. There's Sheffield Giants American football use it. So there's not just ourselves using it, albeit that we train and play there. That there's this whole element around the Attercliffe/Darnell area that are benefiting from that pitch, and then the facilities that will come around it. So no, it's great for everyone. Yeah, because
there's a massive emphasis on. I know there's loads of other football and other teams using it from the community, using it as a community base. But from a rugby league point of view, community engagement is massive in grassroots rugby, isn't it?
It's key. And again, our foundation just relaunched, rebranded as Eagles Foundation, and that's sort of gone from strength to strength over the past 6-7 months. It's amazing. And again, we'll be launching a women's side next year in 2022, hoping that some of our games through the men's team will be double headers with the women's down at the OLP. And again, the Olympic Legacy Park isn't just the stadium, it's everything around it. So again, hopefully wheelchair being based at AIS, and then the Sharks basketball arena is being developed there soon as that. So no, it's a brilliant place to get involved in sport and health and well-being and everything like that. It's brilliant.
And what does the Sheffield Eagles do in terms of community engagement? So outside the stadium, how do you guys promote the sport of rugby league to people who might not necessarily, one, have access to be able to play it in the first instance, but two, even know what the sport is?
Yeah, so our charitable arm, the Eagles Foundation, deliver rugby league into schools, so primary schools, secondary schools across South Yorkshire, not just Sheffield, so across the wider region. Again, just lots of wheelchair side, so that is, wheelchair is completely inclusive, anyone can play, able-bodied, disabled, any age can basically hop in a chair and get involved in it and play it. So they've just had their first ever game against Rochdale, a friendly, and again there was players from sort of 8 to 9 years old up to 50, and again able-bodied and disabled as well. So that's great that we can get it completely inclusive to everyone involved. And off the back of that, we'll be having some key games in the Rugby League World Cup for the wheelchair next year. So it's exciting for that side of it. And then again, we'll talk about the women's, potentially PDRL, which is LDRL, learning difficulty rugby league. So we're looking at that as well. So not just sort of the men's 13-a-side element, but every other element that we try and get involved and expand the sport across South Yorkshire.
I've always been really intrigued with wheelchair rugby and how it's evolved, because it's not the same as what the men's 13, but at the same time it's got so many elements of the game that's implemented. It's actually, I've watched the game before, it's actually quite interesting to watch.
It's a brutal sport, really, let's be honest. I've seen it a few times, never played it myself, but it's a good sport to watch, and I'd encourage anyone to go and have a look. Definitely. So what outside of the community side of things, Mark, this might be one for you, what are the Eagles doing to not only engage kind of more fans to come to the games, but also using initiatives around the club for businesses to bring, get a table at 10 and do some corporate stuff? So I'll defer the fans on to Liam in a minute for you, but the business side of things, what we're going to be starting in January is we're going to launch the Eagles Business Club, which will enable businesses to get involved with the club for relatively little cost, but get involved with us at a ground level, where we'll run networking events with them, bringing our sponsors and the business club members together. Let them use our brand to promote their businesses, not only within our sponsor base, but also to fans where applicable, and also to the wider business community of South Yorkshire. From there, we can not only get them involved in the club, but get them involved in rugby league as well, get them down to games and work with them and show them the benefits of being involved in sport and the Sheffield Eagles.
And I saw the fixtures that came out this week, and actually I reckon about half the games are on a Friday now at home.
So again, that was Liam's initiative. We tried to put that in maybe 2 years ago when we really started ramping up the commercial side of things, when we knew the stadium was happening. Sunday afternoons are quite difficult for commercial because generally they are family time.
So we try and create a family atmosphere on the games on a Sunday afternoon. Friday nights are really good for commercial, which is why we've pushed as far as we can to get as many fixtures as possible on a Friday night.
Yeah, and when I looked at the fixtures, I was like, great, because we can do this on this event and this on this one, whereas the Sundays are necessarily not harder to get people there from a business point of view. It changes the emphasis slightly, doesn't it?
Absolutely, but obviously there's geographical restrictions, which I'm sure Liam will elaborate more on about Sundays. We can't have teams for 80 miles or something.
Yeah, if they're part-time side, they can't travel outside of certain things and things like that. But the thing with the Friday night as well is what I touch on is, yes, rugby league traditional time is 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, family time. I fully get all of that, and I understand why a lot of clubs do it. But if you look at some of the big clubs, your Warringtons, your St Helens, your Wigans, your Leeds, their home times are now Friday nights, and that's been dictated by the fact that Sky and basically get picked on a Friday, so they run their fixture on a Friday night. But if clubs like that can manage with having Friday nights and getting the community involved and still have that family element, then I don't see why we can't. And like Mark touched on, that we're the lower end of sort of sponsorship and things like that, so on a Friday night that you might, a sponsor or hospitality guest might be then going out with our head coach and a couple of players down to Kelham Island after the game, wherever it is. So, you know, it's that element as well, and you don't get that in other sports, or certainly higher up sports, as it were.
So I'm going to sit my commercial hat on now and say they should go to Extra Time Sports Bar that are on our case for next year.
But from the engagement point of view as well around fans and businesses, it's not just you guys that do it as a commercial team. There is initiatives for the players as well to get involved, because I know when we sponsored, we had the player, I think it was Scott, that then did us a video that then engaged it, and then we were then almost inclined to, when we were going to the games, not that we wouldn't anyway, but we felt like we wanted to go and chat to him because he'd already had a conversation via some video to us. So those kind of initiatives are great for business engagement.
Do you know, the videos is quite interesting because we did the videos purely based on COVID, that we couldn't get the fans to interact with the player because of the social distancing restrictions, but they went down that well. We're going to run the sponsor morning again in January, and we're going to do the videos as well.
And I think it's tough. I think it's tough as well with our players that they are part time, so they've all got jobs outside of training with us. They train with us 3 nights a week, sort of 6 till 8:30. So we only see them 6-7 hours a week. So they'll come straight from work, train, and go again. So to then say to a player, "Oh, do you mind going to Brook Corporate to do a launch event or whatever it is?" It's very tough. So again, that video helps that element, that it helps engage them a little bit, that they can do it in their free time or whatever it is, and help support us.
And so do the players ever go out into the community as well? So they'll go out and do some training sessions and things like that?
Yeah, so again, in the past we've had players that's worked for the foundation and again delivered in schools for us. We've not got that at the minute just because of what players we've got and sort of what their jobs they've got. But again, ideally we'd like to move back to that. And then we sort of plan things around. So again, if we give players enough notice, they can take time off of work or they can take some annual leave and help us and support things like that. We've got a couple of players coming to the business lunch as well with Mark, and that again just give them enough notice, they'll attend things like that, and they're great, to be fair, that they never shy away from sort of doing publicity things for us. They don't like some of the stuff that they have to do, but they'll always muck in and get involved.
And what are the other events that are potentially coming up? They've got the business lunch, but potentially the business lunch might have gone, we'll have probably done the business lunch by the time this goes out, but there is other events that go on throughout the year that bring fans, businesses, communities into the Eagles.
Yeah, so we've got our sponsor morning in January, which will be to be decided on the exact format, but it'll probably be an open training session, and then we'll do shirt presentations and get sponsors talking to each other. We've got 2 business lunches lined up for next year. We will be doing some sort of promotional event around the World Cup, which is coming to Sheffield next year, a couple of golf days, and then we'll do the probably bi-monthly networking events linked to the business club as well, so there's plenty to get involved with.
What's the World Cup's obviously coming? Do we know how many games are in Sheffield next year?
There'll be 1 game in Sheffield from the men's point of view. Yeah. I think the release fixtures due this Friday, the new ones.
Yeah, so obviously it was due to happen 2021. Yeah. COVID hit. Some of the teams were unwilling to travel at the time, so they postponed it to 2022. And that means because of television deals and obviously the Football World Cup's happening at the back end of 2022, I think it's been pushed by a week, so all the fixtures have changed slightly. But yeah, the England against Greece will be happening at Bramall Lane, the men's. Then we've got some group games in the wheelchair, plus the semi-finals of the tournament, a double header of the wheelchair at EIS as well, so that's key for us. And we'll be hosting Greece for 6 weeks, the men's side, and we're also hosting France, Scotland, USA and Wales in the city as well on the wheelchair side, so that's great. And they've got a commitment to go out and engage with the community as well, so this time next year we'll be absolutely out there with the community, engaging with the Greek side and also the wheelchair side as well.
There's so much stuff happening around rugby league in Sheffield now. It's almost putting it back on the map, isn't it? It's not that it ever completely dropped off, but there was certainly a massive emphasis on driving the sport back onto the top.
I've got to say it's down to the foundation. So again, through ourselves, Sheffield City Trust, the council and the RFL, that we've all sort of funded a development officer post for 2 years. So Andrew Dobson came in back in June, and then from there we've, like I say, launched the wheelchair side. We'll be launching a women's side, hopefully a LDRL side. Lots happening in the sport, and that's off the back of the foundation, the great work they're doing. That we know how the sport can go and kick off in the city, but we've not been able to do that. And having just one person in place with some strong supported trustees behind it, it's been great to see.
And does the foundation? Do you get a lot of players that come up through the ranks and through the foundation?
No, the foundation is just a separate entity. So it's a charitable trust, and basically they go out and deliver into the schools. They, like I say, run the wheelchair side. They are developing the sport for us, and they work with the likes of Yorkshire Sport on school tournaments and things like that. So no, it's great what they're doing, and it gets us out of our just the first team men's side. I talked about with Mark that England Rugby League launched their new shirts, I think, earlier this year, and they had the men's, the women's, and two of the wheelchair team in the shirts all together. And I would love this time next year when we unveil Sheffield Eagles shirts that we have all the different ones on the same level, so everyone is the same level. So the women's, the men's, the wheelchair are all the same level in the club.
Yeah, and then that's just promoting the sport as a whole. Then it's not one, it's not the other. It is the sport, and that's the way you want to go.
And from Mark's point of view, from a commercial point of view, someone doesn't want to get involved in the men's for whatever reason that may be. There might be a reason that they get involved in the women's side, or they want to get involved in a wheelchair side as well. There's loads to get involved with from that point of view as well.
Great. And if just to wrap up, Mark, if anyone that's listening wants to get involved with the Eagles, how do they go about doing so?
Easiest way is just to give the club a call, 0114 398 1998, or drop me an email, and we'll have a chat. And plenty of opportunities.
Thanks for watching Biz 15, the Yorkshire Business Podcast. Hopefully you found the content enjoyable, informative, and hopefully you'll join us again in future episodes. Please follow our Apple Podcast channel, our Spotify channel and YouTube channel, which is Biz 15. Hopefully we'll see you on future episodes.